you have an M550i, you want a front mount intake, and you want it to sound really cool, I got it for you right here. Alrighty, you guys, welcome back to another JB Cars video today. You guys join me back here with the M550i. See, we also got the F30 here chilling like a villain. Don't know if I ever showed you guys these new M3 M4 CS style wheels that I got going on here. I'm going to be doing a review on these wheels as well, along with my fitment options, stuff like that, so you guys get the logistics if you want to run that setup on your F30. But anyways, let's talk about the elephant in the room. So I know you guys saw the thumbnail, saw the title. We have intakes on this car now. I know those grills are shut, can't see them, but I'll throw up a couple pictures. Got a couple other clips I want to show you guys, so let's get straight into it and start talking about it. You guys join me under the hood here. As you see, this engine bay looks so much better compared to that stock factory box. I ended up going with the ARM Motorsports intake. They finally came out with a front mount intake system. I went with that instead of the N63.com. I know a lot of people have been favoriting that one, but I've just always loved ARM. They make good products, really good quality products. Enough about the products. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about if you want to get a front mount option on your M550. Process, is it hard to install, you know, how much, you know, costs, stuff like that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to give you guys a lot of tips, I guess, too. But what I really gotta say is, for the money, it's a great intake. Been driving with it now for the last 2 days now. Finally got the car up and going again. I'm gonna give you guys my problems I've had while doing this intake, other stuff like that too. So let's get into it. I found out that ARM Motorsports, they were finally making a front mount option for the M550. I've contacted them a couple times about it. I've talked to them about, you know, are you guys ever gonna make an option like that for like the M550? I know you guys have made it for the F10 in the past. It's got a similar engine, similar routing and stuff here. I know that they also did another option too, where the intake would come and it would stop here and the filter would be here. I know some people like to go with that route too. I personally don't think that is the most effective route. Yes, you are getting rid of that big air box that sits in the back. You are still getting a lot of hot air. This engine bay, don't get me wrong, this engine creates a lot of heat. You got these turbos here. With that air box, it was creating a lot of heat. Luckily, if you do the option where you get the filters only to here, yeah, you're getting rid of that box, but keep in mind, you're still pulling a lot of hot air because your filters are here. Yes, this ducting here, I don't know if you will take that out or not. That's up to you, depends on you. This car now, I mean, there's a lot of pros, a lot of cons to this intake. So the pros of this intake, like I said, you're removing that big old box in the back. You're gonna have cooler intake temps. You're also going to have better and sharper throttle response. I've noticed in Sport Plus when I took it on the first couple drives, it was doing great. I was like, holy cow, this car is completely different. Now, one thing I will disclose, a problem I stepped into. I had these air codes on the car after I did it. I double checked everything. I double checked all the seals. I was like, how am I getting codes that the pressures are, you know, too low? Was doing some research, looked on forums and stuff. It was actually this mass airflow sensor. I had it in upside down. That was a problem. The car was reading too low on this side. Because I remember when I drove it for the first time too, I was like, well, why is the car not burbling? Like, the burbles are really quiet. I'm getting all that power. Throttle response feels better, but it's kind of kicking off the boost in certain power bands. It was a little weird. I was a little sketch of it. I ended up figuring out, a guy I saw that had an F10 550 with the same intake. He actually ended up, he had his sensors in backwards as well, ended up flipping them. Like, so with the mass airflow sensor, the catch side is supposed to be collecting air this way. It was actually doing it the opposite way on this side. This side I checked, it was fine. So it does not throw a check engine light. So if you guys, you know, might think your mass airflow sensors are fine, I would still just scan the car anyways after you drive it, just to make sure that if you DIY it, you know, make sure you check the codes, make sure you don't get that code. I ended up flipping that. No codes now. intake. The car runs amazing now. The turbo noises sound absolutely amazing. I'm gonna be posting some shorts and some clips. Check my TikTok and my YouTube shorts. I will be posting those. Now I'm going to move on to the cons. Now, granted, I know you guys have noticed, yeah, I have the front mount option. You guys seen some pictures so far. I did keep, obviously, these grills, so I had to do a couple extra steps than you normally would do. I ended up having to remove the bumper to even access behind here. So that was kind of a mess. I'll throw up the video now of what that sort of looked like and mid-progress I had. You guys, just a fair warning, if you are going to put this intake in, please do it with somebody else. I mean, I've broken so much stuff so far. I've lost so many tools in this engine bay somewhere that I will never get back. I think I probably should have just cut out these grills, but I really didn't want to. Yeah, you know, it's a pretty decent looking intake though. I mean, we got the front mounts, we got one there and one's over there. This metal bar's in the way, so I kind of had to wedge it behind it, but yeah, just a fair warning. I lost a ratchet somewhere down there. I lost a couple nuts over there. Yeah, we worked on this for about 8 hours yesterday, and this is the progress we were at. We were basically done just about, besides the fact that, see, there's a little coolant line right here that runs here to the radiator. I actually broke that, so I can't start the car. Gotta go run around now and find it. So I love ARM Motorsports though. They always make great products. I mean, this intake, I'm just letting you guys know, if you buy this and decide to put it in yourself, this side is gonna be an absolute nightmare. We spent probably 3 hours alone just trying to get this side in. One with the clearance with all these other coolant lines, that's how I broke this coolant line. And then also with down here, underneath the latch, there is a metal piece that's sitting somewhere in there, and it makes getting the silicone tubing in way more difficult. So, I mean, I will give you guys an update the further along we go. And once we gotta go find a coolant line now for the car, unfortunately, so. Also had to pull everything apart, had to remove this. This is sitting up here right now so I could get behind the kidney grills. Just a lot of parts everywhere. That's actually a coolant line that I broke, trying to fit the intake in over here. Yeah, so took all that out. These factory airbox, guys, is an absolute nightmare to get out. Ended up, these pieces here, you guys, they actually sit right here, and they're held in by a bolt. Great job for BMW engineering guys to make my life so much harder. Yeah, I mean, this factory intake was a pain to get out. This one looks so much better, but I'll give you guys the final update, final result when I get done. So obviously from seeing that video, you could tell I had a couple problems. So one, my first problem I had was obviously I wanted to keep the grills. A lot of people just cut them straight out. I totally understand that. I totally believe in that. The only reason I didn't want to do that is because I kind of wanted to keep that OEM look with that grill opening and closing. And the other thing too is anytime I'm pushing the car, the grill opens up anyways. So I was like, you know, what really doesn't matter if I cut it out or not? Like, if I ever go to sell the car, that's one modification. I get the car's already modified a lot, but I don't know. There's just a part of me I didn't want to get rid of it. I know you guys are probably gonna make fun of me in the comments for it, but I'm sorry. I don't know. Next problem I had, you guys saw in that clip, this coolant line right here, I ended up breaking it trying to wedge not wedge it, but get the intake down in here. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If you want to do this intake for yourself, pay someone to do it. Do not even, it's a headache, and it is the most miserable job you will ever do, like ever on a car. Like, this intake took me about 13 hours to put in, and that was over the course of 3 days too. For the first day, we spent almost 9 hours. It was about 8.5 hours just to get, we only only had this side done after the first day. And that clip you saw, that was the second day. That was the beginning of the second day, the progress we had so far. This coolant line was already broken. I ordered it from BMW later that day after that video I recorded. And I ended up, you know, it sucks, but it is what it is. I mean, didn't want to have to do that, but I wasn't going to be able to start the car because I would have had coolant all over it. That's another thing that's another reason why I'd say have somebody do it, because therefore if in the event you break your own line, you're not paying for that. Whoever installs it for you, the shop or whatever, they got to pay for that if they end up breaking it. If you even delete these two, the reason it took me a little bit longer is because I had to take off the bumper and all the grills and stuff. But you still have to remove all these panels. You have to take out these latches. That's the only way you're going to be able to get your hand in there to wedge it around. In the video I just threw in there, this whole right side is the toughest side. You have all these lines. It's very tough. It is very hard. You have to be very, very strategic in how you put it in, and you have to be very, very careful not to break a coolant line like I did. You have to, the intake hose that's right here up on screen, there is a clip, like a little clip sort of on the back of it, both sides. It is holding that intake hose on the side of the car. Now, granted, I was not taking out this headlight. That would have been the only way to access the screws, so I literally got a crowbar and just wedged it out. But that's another thing I will tell you guys, you know, if you're trying to do it yourself, be very, very, you know, strategic in how you do it, because you don't want to break anything else down here. If you damage that headlight, that's a couple grand in just that headlight. So you guys got to be very careful and strategic if you decide to do it yourself. I would highly recommend paying somebody to do this because it was honestly a nightmare. I lost a bunch of tools in this engine bay. I lost a ratchet. I lost some nuts over there. I also lost a couple sockets. I ended up actually retrieving all of them. I don't know how. I found some tool, $5 Harbor Freight, metal long stick thing that it was magnetic, and I somehow got everything out, thankfully. But still, I mean, it was a lot of work. The amount of stress and agony that you're going to put on yourself, because you can't go into this thinking it's going to be. I was going into this, I'm going to be honest, I was going into this thinking it was going to be a very quick, simple job. You know, you're just putting in the intakes, removing this area. That this was a night. It was a long job, very long job. I know that a lot of you guys want this option on the car. I wanted this from day one. Right when I saw N63 intake, I was like, I want it, but I want to wait for ARM Motorsports, because that N63 intake was the only people who had an intake at the time. And I was like, well, let me see what ARM does, and let me see if they will put their own out. And they did finally. So I went with that one. I get the N63 intake one. You know, it's basically the same thing. The only difference is this U elbow right here ends up directly attaching here, and they put this sensor down there instead. But still, I mean, it's the same thing. That is one thing I will say that ARM Motorsports, I get this is a prototype intake. A couple things that I will chime in about that I noticed N63 intake does, because I have a buddy who has that intake in his M550, is behind these grills, they have just a silicone right into the filter, but on N63's intake, they have that silicone into another 45 elbow, so they avoid these strut bars right here. For me, I kind of wedged them behind there because I couldn't get the strut bar out because of how bad the clearance was with the headlight, and I didn't want to damage them. I mean, I know I kind of somewhat damaged the cones a little bit, but as long as they work and it's fine. I know it might not be the greatest idea to do that, obviously, but still, I just, you're working on the car for so long, you want to get it done. It's already a pain. I will say that's another thing. Make sure you guys have lube, because these hoses are very hard to get in and out of. They're very hard to slide in. They're very, very tough. It's kind of a bit of a pain when you have to do it for every single hose. That's the other thing too. I was losing these nuts especially. I love these. These are great. But the one thing I will say is these ones worked out so much better because of that smaller down here in these areas. You have to also pre-tighten some of these down here, like in this area here. I don't know if behind here, you're probably not behind. You can see that one down there. You have to pre-tighten. This area was also very hard because this side didn't have it, but this side had a little metal area I talked about earlier. I had to put this elbow here in first, so it's just hard. This whole area is really sketch. Just don't want to, you know, break anything. But anyways, guys, that's my 2 cents on the intake. Do I rate it a 5 out of 5 stars? I mean, I have to. I mean, 5 out of 5 star intake. It is a great intake. It makes really cool sounds. It improves the performance ever so slightly. Well, not really horsepower and all that, but the torque might feel a little bit more, way more responsive. That's what I meant to say. I mean, obviously intakes don't really get you a whole lot as number-wise and stuff like that. I do think though that it does keep the engine cooler a little bit more, not having that big air box. I know other people might have different opinions. You know, if you guys are looking to do a front-facing option, I totally recommend it. It's awesome. It's a great bang for your buck when you want that intake noise, those turbo blow-off noises and like stuff like that. So, but like I also said, 5 out of 5 stars, but I would not recommend doing it yourself to install. I would definitely pay somebody. I would have went back. I would have paid $500 for somebody to put this in. I know that's pushing it, but I would have done that. If I could go back and do it, I would have done it to just save the pain and just everything else. It would have made my life so much easier. That's my 2 cents, guys, on this intake. Otherwise, it is a great intake for your M550. I hope you guys enjoyed stopping by and listening to my thoughts and what I think about this intake. If you guys are looking to purchase it, I will link both of the intakes down below. Just make sure if you guys do go with the ARMS one, if you want to do that front-facing option like I was talking about, just make sure if you guys go with the ARM one, if you want to do just the cone here instead of the front-facing option, make sure you don't select the front-facing option. But if you guys want to get the ARM front-facing like this, when you click the link below, you will end up clicking that. It'll have a front-facing option to add to it, basically. So for the money, ARMS is half the price of N63 roughly, but I mean, you can't be. It's a front-facing intake, guys. That's all I care about. I could care less about carbon fiber. Not particularly the biggest on that, especially if you want to do if you're putting carbon fiber in one spot, what's the point? You know, you got to put it all over the car at that point. In the near future, I'd like to do something like that, but I mean, for now, I just wanted the intake. So hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, anything regarding this intake or thinking about doing it, leave them below. I respond to just about everything that you guys send my way. I know you guys have been really liking the reliability video. You guys have been smashing the comments section. I've been helping you guys out with all the information I can give you guys, but you know, I want to keep bringing you guys this content for those of you guys that want to build a car this similar spec. I'm going to be doing a stage 2 review very soon, and then like I also said, I'm going to be doing the wheels. I'm going to be talking about the wheels on the F30 because I know I have a much more aggressive fitment right there than a stock one would. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you share this video with anybody who has an M550 that might want to do something like this. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, JB Cars, I'm out, man. See you guys. Let's go,